Watch the sleek, automated train slice right through the city, leaving the paralyzed, gridlocked highway completely behind. Malaysia has built a world-class physical transit network that stretches from international airports to rural states. But underneath that seamless concrete and steel, the ticketing systems are managed by a dozen different private and state operators with no single point of entry. Faced with a dozen different transit brands, most visitors make an expensive mistake. They get overwhelmed and default to buying single-use cash tokens for every ride, or they surrender entirely and pay surge pricing on ride-hailing apps like Grab. Local commuters navigate the exact same network without breaking stride, using integrated prepaid smart cards and dedicated mobile apps to bypass the friction entirely. Which brings up a real dilemma for your vacation. Do you invest your first 2 hours in the country setting up local transit apps, or is paying cash on the fly actually less of a headache? This bar chart shows the actual financial stakes. Over a 5-day trip, a traveler relying on Grab and cash tokens will spend significantly more than a traveler who set up digital passes and booked their connections in advance. Achieving a low-cost trip in Malaysia doesn't require riding in hot, crammed conditions. You just have to clear a little digital setup friction before you arrive. The very first decision you face is how to cross the massive geographical gap between Kuala Lumpur International Airport and the city center at KL Sentral. If your priority is time, you can pre-book a ticket on the KLIA Express train online or through their app, which secures a 10% digital discount. For about 50 ringgit, you get a 28-minute non-stop ride in an air-conditioned cabin. Because it runs on a dedicated rail line, it is completely immune to whatever is happening on the roads. The budget alternative is walking right up to the airport express bus counters on level 1. Here, you'll pay a fraction of the train fare, usually between 12 and 15 ringgit for a direct ride. The problem with the bus is that it has to fight through the city's severe rush-hour gridlock. You have to build a strict 1-hour time buffer into your schedule, just to account for unpredictable surface-level traffic. This quadrant chart maps the trade-off clearly. The KLIA Express sits high on cost, but gives you absolute speed and time security. The airport bus sits low on cost, but carries a high risk of losing time to traffic. Notice that neither option requires heavy digital setup. At the airport, the trade-off is purely a matter of prioritizing cash retention versus buying total time immunity. Once you are exploring major hubs like Kuala Lumpur and Penang, elevated rail lines completely bypass the surface traffic. The baseline tool you need to access these networks is a physical touch-and-go card. You will need to find a customer service counter to purchase the card for about 10 ringgit, and then load it with a minimum cash balance.
That initial effort enables seamless, cashless tapping across the MRT, LRT, monorail, and buses. It also automatically applies fares that are noticeably lower than purchasing single-journey cash tokens every time you ride. If you plan on moving constantly, there are unlimited ride options like the MyCity Pass in KL or the Rapid Passport in Penang, which charge a flat upfront fee. This graph plots the math. Pay-as-you-go fares climb against the flatline cost of a MyCity Pass, breaking even at 3 to 4 daily trips. If you don't hit that usage, money gets stranded on the card, which is notoriously difficult to refund when leaving. Those unlimited passes can be a mathematical trap for a casual sightseer. For most visitors, the standard pay-as-you-go touch-and-go card is the most versatile financial baseline for urban commuting. When you travel cross-country, the fragmentation between private express bus companies and state-run rail networks creates a high barrier for tourists. To book the state-run KTM ETS high-speed train, you need the official KITS app, which guarantees a seat on a strict schedule. But that reliability comes with friction. The ETS system ties tickets strictly to passenger identity, meaning you have to manually type your passport details into the app or scan your physical passport at a kiosk just to reach the platform. To navigate the dozens of private bus operators, aggregator apps like Redbus or EasyBook serve as a consolidated digital portal for intercity travel. Skip the massive ticketing lines entirely by scanning your phone's QR code directly at the terminal's boarding gate. The caveats for that convenience are structural. Express buses in Malaysia rarely have onboard toilets, and safety records vary between operators, making overnight bus routes a major risk. Still, the cost disparity is massive, with bus fares coming in significantly lower than premium rail tickets on the exact same routes. The KITS rail app demands identity verification in exchange for premium reliability.
The bus aggregators offer massive discounts and line skipping convenience, but you have to accept standardized safety and comfort trade-offs. Because no single app rules the entire Malaysian transit network, you have to build a custom tech stack based on your specific travel priorities before you arrive. This flowchart maps optimal pathways. Budget backpackers maximize savings using the airport bus, red bus, and touch and go. Time-poor optimizers guarantee traffic-proof itineraries with KLIA Express, Kits, and Grab. Multi-city explorers need a hybrid stack: touch and go, rapid passport, and daytime bus bookings. If you fall into this middle tier, remember to secure your physical touch and go card at the airport transit counter so you aren't hunting for a convenience store later. Traveling on a budget in modern Malaysia doesn't require enduring uncomfortable conditions. It is entirely a function of your digital preparation. Download the apps, skip the terminal queues, and let the local tech do the heavy lifting.